Joining me now, attorney Barbara Smith. She served as law clerk to Justice Samuel Alito, former chairman of the Republican National Lawyers Association, Randy Evans. Good to have you both with us. Barbara, first, your reaction to this nomination.
Yeah, I think Judge Gorsuch is an incredible pick for a number of reasons some of your guests have already mentioned. Most importantly, I think he's thought deeply and hard about what the proper role of an appellate judge is. He has expressed strong views that judges should interpret laws and the Constitution as written instead of imposing their own policy preferences into their opinions. And I think we can all agree that's something we want in a Supreme Court justice. I think, second, he's an incredible writer. No one is going to be able to replace the great Justice Scalia for his wit, but Judge Gorsuch can come awfully close. He's well known to write accessible opinions that are funny, and I think he'll just be a great addition to the court.
And Randy, as we have talked about this choice, he satisfies, it would seem, the entire spectrum of the Republican Party, not simply the conservatives. Your thoughts on that?
Well, that's right. I mean, he was involved in Little Sisters of the Poor, the Hobby Lobby. So I think for religious freedom, he's a great pick. But I also think in terms of deference to agencies, remember, he's one who believes in greater individual freedoms. So I think he just kind of hits or checks all of the boxes. But Lou, also remember this. Democrats have 23 seats up in 2018. 23. 10 of those were won by Donald Trump, and Trump only needs 8 in order to invoke cloture and break the filibuster for a judge that was unanimously confirmed in 2006. I think it puts Democrats in a real tough bind because he's good for the country and it's been proven by what he's done on the bench.
Are you saying you actually expect Senator Schumer to, if you will, genuflect and let the judge go through to be confirmed?
No, I think there'll be some gamemanship. I make no mistake about it. But just as I predicted he would be the pick, I predict that at the end of the day, here's what will happen. You'll have liberal Democrats like Elizabeth Warren invoke filibuster. You'll have a real fight about whether or not the nuclear option is on the table. But at the end of the day, they're going to decide it's not worth it over somebody that was unanimously confirmed for those people who live in those 10 states that Donald Trump won. It's not going to be worth it, especially for 8 of them, and it's only 8 they need in order to break the filibuster.
How important?
So at the end of the day, he gets the thumbs up or down vote. He's easily confirmed. But it won't be before they play every game they can. Right. But at the end, the numbers get to them.
You know, Barbara, where is the American Bar Association? Why isn't there some adult supervision of some kind? I'm sure there are some people suggesting that Dobbs has lost his mind to think there would be adult supervision from the ABA. But somebody has to say, with our jurists, that there has to be a higher standard of decorum, of conduct, and politics. What do you think?
Well, sure. I think actually the way this process has played out can tell us a lot about how the American public can evaluate for themselves the qualifications of the nominee. I mean, you can look up Judge Gorsuch's opinions online. They're easy to read. They're accessible. You can form your own view of whether he's right to say that judges should be neutral arbiters who say what the law is and not what it should be. Obviously, I think individual senators are going to have to make up their own mind about whether someone who's this qualified and who's, this highly regarded as the kind of person.
But what I'm asking is the profession itself, Barbara, why is there not a higher standard of conduct? Politics are going to be politics. But the fact is they are watching the shredding of enormous talents time after time. It's an incredibly despicable process to watch. And grown men and women do it as senators, with almost every nomination. Why should the American people have to put up with this level of conduct, in this case, in particular, by the Democratic Party, the left of this country?
Well, I do think, you mentioned the ABA, but I think there are a number of other organizations out there, like folks like the Federalist Society, who do really good work for judges of all stripes. Right. And I do think people will be watching this nomination quite closely, and I hope they keep in mind, what people say about Judge Gorsuch, given his qualifications and given his background, and they'll, sort of think critically going forward as other nominees come down the pipeline.
The Federalist Society, the Heritage Foundation, both, of course, playing prominent roles in creating the 2 lists of 21 jurists to be considered by Donald Trump for the Supreme Court. It's remarkable to me, Randy, with all of the objections and all of the attacks from conservatives against Donald Trump, he moves forward with what looks to me to be a perfect choice. I mean, he couldn't have chosen, it seems, better. Your thoughts on that?
Well, let me be bold and say I think the ABA is going to surprise you. I think they're going to conclude that Judge Gorsuch is qualified, well qualified to be on the Supreme Court. At the end of the day, it's impossible to deny his credentials. Now, they may disagree with him philosophically, but I think at the end his credentials speak for themselves. And one other thing, Lou, to remember, there is one thing that every member of the U.S. Supreme Court agree on, which is the confirmation process is broken, and this is a chance to prove that it can be fixed if the Democrats step up and do their job.
All right. Well, the quality of this nominee suggests to me this would be an ideal time to demonstrate that these senators in the Democratic Party and on the left can rise to higher levels of inspiration. Barbara Smith, thanks so much for being with us tonight. Randy Evans, thank you so much.